All righty. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
helping some folks try and get in here. They were trying to get in here. I'm not sure what was going on, but the environment wouldn't load or something. Oh, more people made it. Great. All right. So, how's everybody this morning, or this afternoon, and this evening, and middle night for people that are here? I want to thank you all for coming for me this morning, for this special edition of Talks with Coach. And as you know, today is Earth Day. And we thought it was appropriate that we would take this day and this time to just to kind of do this talk in reference to Earth Day. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Meta Coach. I'm a life coach. I do life coaching over in Horizon World, and I do talks with Coach, and I do a show called Coach, where I actually do live in-person life coaching. So this is my, initial foray over here into spatial to begin to do some things, and I'm really excited about the possibilities and the opportunities are here. But I want to stay on course with our thoughts about Earth Day. Now, initially, I looked at doing this talk because I did it over in Horizon World, and the talk was called Earth is Speaking, but Are We Listening? And I was kind of motivated by basically kind of a wake up call for myself about what's happening with our planet. And the wake up call came because there were so many things that were not as obvious to me as they should be. Because living in an environment where everything seems to be pristine and perfect, you kind of lose sight of the calamity that's really taking place in this world. And just a little bit of history on Earth Day. Earth Day actually started initially in 1969, and as they came together to look at Earth Day, there was, concerned citizens throughout the world that were thinking about, hey, what are we going to do? Our planet is really under attack. And this is way back in 1969. So you think about how many years has passed and how much damage has been done in the meantime. But one of the things that they really tried to connect with taking care of the planet was world peace. And and if we look at what's happening with world peace and what's happening with the care of the planet, we see that there has been some missed opportunities. There's a lot of things that have gone wrong and that are not being paid attention to. So I'm hoping that today, as we begin to talk about this, it becomes kind of like a clarion call, a wake up, that for us that we can begin to share the message. And I think because of the number of people that are here, that this is a topic that resonate, and I hope to do so. But one of the things I want to throw out here, the people who are being hurt the most right now by climate change and global warming and those things that are taking place are the places that can least afford it right now. There are islands in the Pacific, Indian Ocean, and favorite vacation place like the Maldives, Palau, and places like that. These places uh, probably in the next 30 or 40 years won't exist because of global warming. These places are losing uh, territory. The islands are starting to sink. The ocean is starting to overtake these places. And one of those reasons that is kind of controversial is, are the polar ice caps actually raising the sea level? Now, I'm not a scientist, but I would think that it is having some kind of impact and effect. So these are people who make their living off of tourism and fishing, but they're small. And when it comes to global economy and the superpowers, the people that are in a position to make changes, they're almost insignificant, which is sad because these are people too who are trying to make a living, trying to make a life. But they're not the only ones being affected. You know, Canada, Russia, all these northern countries are starting to lose their permafrost. All this is just melting away. Glaciers are going away. But it's not without consequence. I was just reading a few days ago that 28 new viruses have been discovered as glaciers have melted. Now, these things have been frozen for millenniums, but they're active. These things are alive, they're viable. And so now scientists are trying to figure out how much of this has actually bled into the ocean waters. Where's this gone? How much of these viruses are in the lake waters? So we have things happening that man has no clue what it is because we haven't been exposed to those things because they've been frozen. So even here in the United States, down in the southern states, Florida is losing land because of the encroachment of the rising seawaters. So these people that have these fabulous mansions that are down on the ocean, they're starting to lose those. But they're the ones that get attention, but it's not the poor fisherman that's living off the banks of Florida and Alabama and Georgia whose homes and livelihoods are being destroyed because of encroaching seawater. We see all of the things that are happening now as a result of some of the things that are going on. Just recently, there was a news report. There are these fish that were just spinning in circles and almost like they were in agony and just crazy. They were just, it was hundreds of them. And it's trying to figure out what's wrong with these fish. Why are they swimming in a circle and then all of a sudden flopping over and dying? So there are things that are happening to this planet that we're just now starting to take notice of. But some of these things have been happening for decades, but we're just now beginning to see the results of those things. So it kind of concerns me. What will we look like 10, 15, 20 years from now if we don't take notice of what's going on, if we don't take action to what's going on? And those are the things that concern me. So when you think about what's happening with pollution, you don't have to look far to see the effects that pollution is having on this planet. Air pollution, land pollution. So we're basically doing things uh, seemingly for our own luxury, but to the destruction of the planet that we need to survive in. Something that really, really touched me. Those of you who know me, I love the ocean, and whales are kind of my favorite creatures, particularly the humpback whale. And I saw where there was a whale that had washed up on the shore, and after they tried to examine what caused this whale to die, the whale's throat was full of plastic. So if you ever watch the humpback whales, they come up out of the water and they just take a big gulp of water and suck in all these fish. Well, apparently this whale sucked in a bunch of plastic and it got lodged in its throat and it couldn't dislodge it. So we don't know how often that's happening because maybe some of these whales aren't washing up, they're sinking out in the ocean. So we don't know the full impact of what's really going on. We only know what we see. So there's a lot that we don't see that's going on. So for us that are here, we say, what can we do? How can I make a change? What impact can I have? And we'll talk about that later. But I just want to bring kind of an awareness that Earth is speaking, but are we listening? There are things going on around us that we may not even really take notice of. But I think if we take a closer look, it could be quite frightening. Be a real attention getter. Now, maybe it doesn't affect us now, but what about future generations? What legacy are we leaving behind for future generations to come? And I think that's probably one of my biggest concerns is what is what is the impact of the future? Now it'd be easy for me to say, well, I'm okay right now, but for how long? We don't know what the next calamity is going to take place because even with global warming, we see there's an increase in hurricanes and tornadoes in places that haven't had them before. I think there was a tornado not too long ago, and was it in New York? Well, an earthquake in New York City, and that's something that they said hasn't happened in 200 years. An earthquake in New York City, and you can imagine the devastation in a place like that if you had a massive earthquake. But why are these things taking place? One of the things that scientists are looking at now is the global warming causing the tectonic plates to become more active. They expand under this increased temperature and pressure. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I'm listening. I'm trying to learn to see what's going on. So I encourage each of us to ask questions. If there's anything that walks away from this presentation, that we ask questions about what's going on around us and then ask ourselves, how am I contributing and what can I do in my little space to make a difference? Because we all have an opportunity to do so. Now we're in this place, this beautiful place. Let's look around, there's waterfalls, there's greenery, all these things that are here. And these are the things that we enjoy about this planet. There's just a diversity of culture, diversity of of land, the diversity of just environments that we experience. But slowly that's being taken away. The industrial giants that have an opportunity to make a difference aren't even concerned because we can't do what is called geofencing. We can't just block off a place and say, okay, we're gonna protect this land, the rest of it, so be, so be it. That may be the attitude, but nobody's gonna escape it. We're on this planet, we all live here, we're all gonna be impacted by it. So as I said, Earth is speaking, but are we listening? The great floods that took place in San Diego, California earlier this year was a wake up call. The city was flooded, cars were being washed away. And there are people saying, is this Indonesia? Is this some, third world country where people are being washed away, cars are being washed away? No, this is San Diego, California. One of the largest cities in the United States, and it's supposedly one of the uh, most educated cities in the United States. But here it is, things are happening, and so they start realize that nobody is safe from the impacts of global warming and the change in the environment. So it's one of those things. If it doesn't get you now, it'll get you later if we don't do something about it. We're all impacted. So we think about the farmlands and people who are dependent upon agriculture, dependent upon fishing that supply our food. All of these things are being impacted by it. So maybe today we're eating good, and we hear about the prices of food going up and all those things, and so there's so many thoughts around it. It's a political thing. There's so many aspects, but nobody really wants to say. And I'm talking about the powers that be, the people who have the position to make a decision. Excuse me, they don't really want to say that this is happening. Uh, they want to point to other things, political decisions or attitudes, or there's so many other things, but nobody is saying that because the planet is suffering right now, food supplies, those things are being impacted. So Earth is speaking, but are we listening? And here's another thing that I want us to take away from this is the fact that we all have an opportunity, we all have a responsibility to do something about this. We're going to do something right now. Cirrus is going to take us to show us what this place could look like if we don't make a decision to do the right thing. And once we finish with this tour, we're going to come back here, we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to do a call to action of what each one of us can do to move forward. We're a small group, but we have a voice. We know people. There's things that we can do. And I just think about a childhood song. It only takes a spark to get a fire going. So who knows what may be the catalyst of what's taking place? Because even this setting right here came about as a discussion, as a thought between a few people. And here we sit here today with Earth is speaking, but are we listening on this Earth Day? So with that, Cirrus, you want to take us where we need to go?
Hey everyone, I just want to give some logistical info before we put the portal up. We're all going to land at different speeds, and there's going to be an AI voice that does an intro. So what I will ask is that you please wait for everyone to get there. I've taken a note of how many people there are. and we're gonna wait for most people to get there, and then we go together. Because if we get there and we start running around, it's going to start the experience at different times, and you're most likely going to get lost. So I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna wait for everyone to get there. You can chat amongst yourselves or whatever you want to do, and then we all go as a group. Um, Also, if you do get lost and you get separated from the group, it's quite an emotional and educational experience. So rather stay lost or refresh and start again. And I don't mind if I have to go back a million times and take you over and over again. But rather don't unmute and start asking, where's the group? Where's the group? Because it will ruin the experience for everyone else. So that's basically the logistical stuff. Wait until lands, and then we're all going to get into the phone booth, the first phone booth. And the goal is to move from one phone booth to another. There are signs that say motel with little arrows, and that will help us find our way, but we will walk in front. So I'm gonna add the portal. Cirrus, is that all good? Okay. Okay, let me add it in, and then we can jump in. Okay, there we go. Oh, we have 3. Okay, we have 3. It's all to the same. We'll see everyone there. And when you're done, come back here.
Welcome to Lost Voices, Children of the Anthropocene. In the year 2054, this alternate reality unveils a grim vision of our future. A world where humanity's choices have led us down a path of irreversible consequences. Witness the harsh truth of a planet pushed to the brink. Our insatiable hunger for resources and relentless emission of greenhouse gases have triggered catastrophic climate change. The consequences are dire. This desert wasteland, once a flourishing landscape, now serves as a haunting testament to our failure to protect the Earth. As you explore Lost Voices, Children of the Anthropocene, we urge you to reflect on the consequences of our actions. This is not a prophecy, but a warning, a call to action. The future is not yet written. We have the power to alter our trajectory and protect this precious planet we call home. Embrace innovation, foster sustainable practices, and join hands to safeguard our future.
All right.
Yeah, I couldn't get in. I tried it for about 6 minutes, and then it let me in right at 9.
Couldn't get in?
The environment wouldn't load from
Yeah, I was
about
having some problems.
47 after until 9 o'clock.
Wow.
It's okay, I got in.
Yes, you did.
It let me in on my phone. It wouldn't let me in the headset.
Yeah, I think most people did come in on their phones.
Okay, while you wait, you can look here in this old cinema at the AI images. Okay, so the experience will be based on where you are. the audio will play, but you can follow me if you want to get started, and remember to go into each of the phone booths.
Hello, I'm Severin Suzuki speaking for ECHO, the Environmental Children's Organization. We're a group of 12 and 13-year-olds trying to make a difference. Vanessa Suddy, Morgan Geisler, Michelle Quigg, and me. We've raised all the money to come here ourselves, to come 5,000 miles to tell you adults you must change your ways. Coming up here today, I have no hidden agenda. I am fighting for my future. Losing my future is not like losing an election or a few points on the stock market. I am here to speak for all generations to come. I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. I used to go fishing in Vancouver, my home, with my dad, until just a few years ago we found the fish full of cancers. My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? knowledge that we need to survive already exists. We are just like babies at the bottom of the stairs, afraid to take the first steps. We are stuck in archaic cycles and metrics. David Attenborough said that anyone who believes in infinite growth on a finite planet is either mad or an economist. But now, some brilliantly mad economists are coming up with new ways for our species to live on this planet. We measure societal success on GDP, economic growth. But what if we change from those linear, degenerative economies to something circular and regenerative? What if we reuse the technologies we have in a circular design that actually serves us rather than endangering us?
But I don't know if can we be heard? Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, that was a dope tour. I like that. The audio was great. Wasn't like a
When
super long
everyone's
walk.
when everyone's finished their experience, you can jump back into Coach's space, and then we're gonna chat there.
All right. Is everybody back, or are we still waiting on people?
I'm waiting for a couple of people.
Okay. While we're waiting, anybody have any thoughts on what you just seen?
I think we need time to digest.
The time to digest. Yeah, that was very powerful. And the fact that it's children that are crying out in this world, to me, is very emotional in a way, because they're the ones that are going to be most impacted. They're the ones that's going to carry the load of this. And when this child said she used to go fishing with her father, and they found these fish with cancer. So you think about how that changes the perspective of nature, and how it taints a tradition, how it taints the things that we've taken for granted. So climate change, global warming, all the things that are taking place in this planet, they're no joke. It's a very, very serious thing. And I think it's vital that we raise our heads and see what's going on. So I think everybody's back, and this came together with the efforts of several people. And one of the persons right now is going to get a chance to share about her artwork here. So Linda, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you could share the story behind your artwork.
Thanks, Mr. Coach. I really think we just need a few seconds to sit in silence and digest what we've just seen. I find it very, very emotional.
Okay, I love it.
Okay. If we take a look at this artwork behind me called Transformation, which I created entirely on my iPhone, we encounter two ethereal figures. They seem to be standing still, but at the same time moving in another dimension, inviting us to follow them. When we look closely, we notice that they seem to be touching, and we are invited to consider what they might be talking about. This particular artwork is, amongst other things, inspired by the urgent need to reflect on humanity's impact on our planet and the need for transformation in the way in which we approach the challenges at hand. Interaction and communication will be essential. Please look at their clothing. There are textures which, for me, seem to convey a map with new pathways needing to be forged. There is a sense of motion flowing within the bodies and a sense of distance needing to be traveled. The changing shades of green and the markings are, for me, suggestive of climate crisis. Someone recently told me that the red at the base of one of the figures' clothing appeared to her to be a wind that was blowing. Others have seen burning fires. We are truly being called to reevaluate humanity's impact on and in the natural world. Transformation implies that something is being changed, altered, or revised. Belief systems and worldviews are currently in motion, a motion caused by the urgent need to reevaluate what will be best for all forms of life on this planet. The figures in the artwork invite us to follow them into a space which is both still and in movement. We will need to come from a place of groundedness within ourselves and society as a whole as we move into the changing times ahead. We are invited to be mindfully present as we are fully engaged with a planet in distress, a planet which is calling out to us. And we are especially invited to be mindfully present as we open ourselves to transformation. And those are the key words for me. We need to open ourselves to transformation. We owe this to the current generation of children and to all the generations to come.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. And please take to heart what she just said. And you can hear the passion in her voice. This is something that's very near and dear to all of us. And I think that the more we understand, the more we're compelled to take action. And so we may ask ourselves, what can I do? I'm just one person. But some of the greatest things have started with one person. You never know the impact that you as an individual may have on the circle around you. There may be someone sitting next to you in this world who, through circumstances or situations, are going to be in a position of power and authority or leadership or influence to begin to make a change. And I think the more of us that begin to think about what's going on, it's only going to spread. And like I said, uh, this organization, Earth Day, started out dealing with world climate change and what's happening with our planet, but it was also focused on world peace. And if we notice, as I said before, the Earth is in chaos, but so is peace and chaos. So the two go hand in hand. So if people begin to collaborate and work together and begin to focus in a direction, we have no idea what we can accomplish. We have no idea of the change that can take place. I'm a firm believer that there is hope. All is not lost, but it takes people getting up, rising up, making a decision to move forward, to make a decision to say, I'm going to be part of the change. So I implore you to, to be part of the change. I think about the group that came together to do this. Dory from Japan, Elizabeth from South Africa, um, Linda from Canada, myself from the US, Cirrus. We came together with an idea, different countries, different cultures, and we came together to do this. It's a small thing, but hopefully it's a catalyst for something bigger to come in the future. And I want to give props to Lisbeth. Those of us who are part of this, we're all wearing her fashions. So those who are wearing Elizabeth fashion, stand up. I'm wearing Elizabeth fashion. She fashioned my suit. I'm so proud of it. So each person did their part to make this happen. You too can do your part to make a lot happen. And with that, I'm going to open it up for a little bit of Q&A before we close this out.
Meta coach.
Yes, ma'am.
So have most of us as people, we have not healthy bodies, not healthy minds. What do you think
Mhm.
about that? We're not healthy inside just because of our
Mhm.
minds. So we don't take care of ourselves. How can we take care of anything else if we don't take care of ourselves? The earth situation is just a representation of what we have inside of us.
I love that comment.
I'd like
Ah,
to add to something Ira is saying, if I may.
mm-hmm.
I think Ira's brought up a very valuable point because
Yes.
we tend to look at ourselves as separate from nature, but we are part of nature. So if nature is to heal itself, that requires healing within each one of us. And if you think
Ah,
about it, if you get a cut on your hand, your body does everything to reach homeostasis. It will start forming a scar. It's wanting to heal itself. And I've been reading a few interesting articles lately which show that the earth also is trying to achieve homeostasis. It's live. It's it's doing things. Um, some of the volcanoes that we've been reading about lately, I discovered that they give off a specific particle which reflects radiation and cools down parts of the earth for a period of years. We've been seeing all these forest fires, but is that not the Earth's attempt to create more grasslands? Because grasslands absorb far more carbon dioxide than forests. So the Earth
mm,
is also trying to heal itself, and we, as part of nature, have to heal ourselves. And I think that's the call to transformation. What are we doing to change the way we think about certain things, how we view certain things? And what Ira says is to develop healthy bodies and healthy minds. By doing that, we are contributing to the healing of nature.
exactly. You said it so perfectly. And Aaron, thanks for bringing that point up. Because if we start with self-care, realizing that we're a part of the creation, we begin to take care of ourselves, we begin to realize that the environment is also essential for that self-care. So as I begin to focus on my own healing and my own growth and my own physical and emotional and mental development, it causes me to look up and look out with a different level of appreciation because now, because my body and mind are getting healthier, I see a difference in the world about me. I see a difference in the environment. So to that point, starting with self is is the most vital first step and doing the other things that need to be done to take care of this planet. To your point, the Earth is a perfect example of what we need to be doing for ourselves. Good question.
Yeah, could I add to that? On the
Yes.
physical level of human
Mhm.
health, we are in a period of time where we are actually polluting our own bodies. There are a number of us in this world who are allergic to or have a very negative, our bodies have negative reactions to the things that we as human beings are putting in our food, in our animals, and in our environment. Um, if you go back far enough, you go like to asbestos, present cancer,
Mhm.
cigarettes, lung disease, heart disease, uh, the things they're adding into foods, antibiotics that make us less our body's less able to use antibiotics successfully. Um, it goes on and on and on, but you don't hear a lot about it. Most
Mhm.
people they're sitting here probably have a shitload, excuse my language, of junk food in their home. It's full of artificial coloring, artificial flavoring, artificial everything, and preservatives that literally destroy our bodies. But, you know, so without, we need to be thinking, how can we preserve ourselves, save ourselves so we can save the world, so we can save this.
Exactly. It's kind of like the thing that you hear on the airline briefing. Put on your oxygen mask first before you can assist others.
Yes.
And and that's so vital. And I'm glad that we are touching on these things because the focus of this presentation was the earth, but we're part of that. Taking care of ourselves is part of that, so that we can do the other things. Great points. Any other questions or comments?
I'm keen to hear what people's response to the experience at Lost Voices. It gets me every time, especially
Yes.
because it's children and I think
Yes.
of the future generation. So I would be keen to hear feedback from people on that experience. And yeah,
I tried.
What Sirius is going to say. I want to hear what Sirius is going to say. He has a voice about what? About pollution?
well, it's Cyrus's world, so we don't need to get feedback from Cyrus. I'm keen to hear from everyone else.
Well, for me, and I've gone through this world a couple of times, and each time it elicits an emotion, an urgency
Yes.
that we can't wait around anymore. We can't wait for somebody else to make a decision. We have to learn to do what we can do as opposed to being frustrated about what I can't do. So asking myself, and that's where each time I'm compelled even more to say, what can I do? And the voice of the children uh, just it tugs at my heart because I know that's the future, and they're going to inherit whatever we leave behind.
Meta coach?
Hmm.
I also feel like we have to focus on some positive talks, as well as
Hmm.
just like help us and empower us instead of like putting fear into us, what's going to happen to us and stuff. So I think that we could get some nice, solutions into these talks as well.
Definitely. And that's what I do want to leave us with is there are, and I said a call to action. There are things that we can do. Uh, just like we just talked about, first of all, starting with ourselves, but also becoming aware of what's going on. And I don't want to strike terror, but I do want to strike awareness that we need to wake up and say, hey, this is what's going on. Um, there are things happening in our parts of the world politically that we may be able to influence on how we vote or how we interact within our cultures and societies. But educating ourselves is a big part of it because I've always been aware of environmental problems, but never aware enough to know, hey, this is a problem. This is a big problem. Maybe going down the street or going to a place where I see a lot of garbage and pollution, I'm going, why? But not to the point of saying, okay, this is an issue. This is something that needs to be dealt with. So yes, there are positive things that we can do. Uh, Going to this organization, earthday.org, they operate all year. They have all kind of information, educational tools that we can take and learn. We can begin to share this information with other people around us. We can begin to speak, about opportunities and what we can do individually. We can begin to be encouragers. There's so much that we can do, and the information is there.
Uh, excuse me.
Mhm.
I want to say I have a comment.
Yes,
Can I continue?
sure.
Hello everyone. I'm Michio. I live in Japanese countryside. From the point of view living in countryside, I feel that people in big city like Tokyo are separated from countryside. So in Japanese countryside, there are there are rice paddies, farmland, and forest. I wonder how many people in Tokyo, big city, have seen real farmland and forest. So I hope people in big city visit countryside and what see what farmers are actually doing agriculture, how people in countryside maintain a forest and absorb themselves in the real nature. Thank you.
I love that, and that is a fact. Sometimes the people that live in the big cities may not be aware of what's really taking place, like you say, in the countryside, in the farmlands, um, in the places where uh, the impact is being felt immediately. In the cities, you may see air pollution or you may see certain things, but when you go out to the countryside, you can definitely see the impact a lot faster. So, thank you for that comment.
Thank you.
I have a couple comments.
Yes.
Uh, well, we do live in a very growing world right now. My name is Stilo, by the way. Hello.
Hey, Stilo.
We live. Hey, so something that I found really surprising was a lot of like awareness to like what we do or donate our time or our energy, which could also be money. Like something really I was interested in doing is like maybe like local like gatherings, local like clean like beach cleanups, and
Mm,
also we can't conquer the world on our own, but together we one by one and doing local initiatives and things like that can really help.
yes.
So I was, so yeah, those are always like possible to get like five friends together and like do like things in your local community. Um, for me too, like learning like where I donated to. So like,
Mhm.
learning a lot about, like maybe the Pacific gyro, the triangle of current that like collects a lot of plastic and stuff. But
Mhm.
we were told that it was like a lot of it could have been like the cause could have been A, but maybe the cause is also like deep rooted in like companies that are starting like uh donation firms to divert the attention away from them, when a lot of the trash in the Pacific gyros or in the oceans can also be from like fishing companies,
Yeah.
fishing wire, rope, nets. So
Yes.
it's always really good to be aware of like what is really going on, and yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. That sometimes the people who depend on something the most are sometimes the ones that's most destructive toward it. Like you said, the fishing nets and things like that, that are trapping wildlife. But to your point, there was a situation in Los Angeles where these elementary school kids were sitting on the porch on the Saturday morning, and they looked at their streets, and there was just garbage in the streets. So these five kids, I guess they were like ages 8 to 12. They got up and went down the street picking up garbage. And so other neighbors saw the kids doing it, and I guess some of them felt kind of embarrassed the kids were out there doing it. Next thing you know, a good portion of the neighborhood was out there cleaning up the street. And adults came along and, had lawnmowers and were cutting each other's lawns. And by the end of that weekend, that street had transformed. But not only had the appearance of the street transformed, the attitude of the people had transformed toward that street. It was like a new pride. They saw their city. I mean, they saw their street differently. They had gotten used to seeing the garbage and the stuff along the streets and, the yards uncut. But these kids were frustrated enough to take action. And then the other people came in and got involved just like that. A weekend changed the view of a street, just like that. So sometimes it just takes somebody standing up and doing something to get things rolling. Any other questions or comments?
Hey guys, yeah, I just have a comment.
Yeah.
So I'm serious, and I'm first of all absolutely delighted to have been part of this initiative. This whole project has been super cool, and it's kind of it's kind of like a direct correlation between how people can come together. This collaborative effort, we all came together with different ideas, different skills, and it was super fun. But it also symbolizes how the Earth is a collaborative organism and ecosystem that needs everybody on board. So Lost Voices is just about that. It's just about an attempt to try and make people step back, reflect a little bit, think about others, think about how we can work together, and think about ways we can contribute to make a little difference. Obviously, experiences like this by itself, on its own, doesn't make much of a difference. But collectively put together, if we all think like this and create whatever through whatever art form, be it music, visual art, whatever, can make a difference when it comes together as a collective whole. So the project and the whole opportunity to work with you guys and to create something like this for Earth Day 24 was a collaboration and a direct correlation between the collaborative ecosystem of the Earth. So, yeah, guys, it's been really fun. From a solution-based thing, there are so many things that are being done already. I'm not an expert in environmental science or anything like that, but if one of us, if a few of us come away from this experience and think about something we could do as from our own perspective or with a group of people, as Stilo was saying, small little things like this. There are incredible organizations, one in particular, Project Drawdown, who are a very solution-based organization who do incredible things. I implore you guys, anyone, just to look at these guys and what they're doing. Projectdrawdown.org. There are incredible opportunities and solutions that exist within technology, and there are so many things, good things happening. Ira is correct when she said, when she pointed out the fact that, okay, well, what are the good things? What are solutions? And that's so true. Today, obviously, I think it was about just raising a bit of awareness. There's obviously a lot of solutions, a lot of things we can do and come away from today. Just, check out Project Drawdown. They are fantastic in what they're doing. It's a non-profit organization. Earth Day itself is an incredible organization. Local activity, local groups, all around you. There are so many things happening. So have a look around. Maybe you're already involved. A lot of you. I'm preaching to the choir. Obviously, people who are here today have an interest in this whole subject. So if we can all kind of play our part, build worlds, do whatever we can do and enjoy doing, then it's cool. So adios.
Yeah.
I'm signing out.
Excellent. Thank you, Cirrus. Thank you for the beautiful world. And with that, there's no further questions. That's our presentation for today. I encourage you to stick around, view this world, take some pictures, post about this event on your Instagram or Facebook. Get the word out, because one of the things that we can do is draw attention to events like this and draw attention to uh, the subjects that we talked about. This is a great place to start, a great way to start to put your foot out there and start moving forward. So I encourage you to do that. And I thank you all. I appreciate you all for coming. Linda, Cirrus, Dory, Elizabeth, you all jumped in and we, pulled this thing together. And I encourage you to stay tuned for more events like this. So with that being said, thank you all. There's somebody here I want you to meet.
Yeah, in spatial. And welcome to your friends from Horizon World. We'd like to see you again as well. Coach, you mentioned wanting to maybe share the link to your pool resort for those that do want to hang out afterwards and socialize a bit. Would you like me to share the portal?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we're going to share the portal to Coach's Pool Resort. And for those of you who do just want to hang out and chill with our community and get to know each other a bit better, you're welcome. And I will see you there.